Big show today. There is a lot to talk about, and the hype leading up to Augusta is hot. It's just hot right now. We had one of the great stars in the game breaks through, wins for the first time in fiery fashion. You got very excited about it. We had Rory, Scottie. We got all kinds of great players up there, and we've got Chevy and the Equinox EV. It is chevy.com/Equinox EV. You're going to check out all the product info, the lease offers, the amazing deals. But this show is brought to you by Chevy, our presenting sponsor. They've been doing it for 100 years plus. They've been making electric vehicles for over a decade. They got the best-in-class 17.7-inch diagonal standard touchscreen display. We love Chevy, and you're going to love this show.
Yeah, we're actually on the road for the next 2 weeks. All of us won't be home for 13, 14 days at the minimum. We'll be in Chevys the whole way through, driving through the mountains of Georgia, all the way up to McLemore Resort and down to Augusta National. We'll be in Chicago doing mini golf. So for us, when we're on the road and we're getting in all these big, nice Chevys, these Suburbans and these Tahoes, and other people will get inside their, the smaller sedans, which we like to also have for the producers. It's great. Chevy really just gets us to where we need to go, and it's been a great partnership, and we love it. We love when we're on the road getting in a Chevy. It's a reliable, amazing car brand.
It really is. They got no compromises, interior, ample cargo room, and convenient storage solutions. And that's true. We got camera equipment, golf bags, a bunch of bodies, and we fit into these, the Equinox EV, no problem. So once again, that is chevy.com/Equinox EV. Check out all the information. Just check out what they look like. You're going to love it on there. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
And Rory's hitting driver iron to like 25 feet and makes the putt. That is like, that I thought about that for 4 straight days.
Foreplay, presented by Barstool Sports, brought to you by our lovely friends at Chevy. We love the Chevy Equinox, chevy.com/Equinox EV. It's a huge week. We're about to embark upon 2 straight weeks of travel. We're recording this on March 31st. I won't be back in my own bed until April 15th, and a lot's going to occur between now. We are 1 week out from the Masters tournament. We've got all kinds of great storylines developing going into that tournament. Min-Woo Lee, one of the great young stars in the game, who's always been just a little bit below the surface on performance, steps up, gets a huge win. You could tell it meant a lot to him. Scottie playing very well, finishes second. Gary Woodland, awesome story, was on the show a month ago. He finishes second. Rory McIlroy had a charge on Sunday. He finished inside the top 5. We got the Chiclets match this week. We've got a whole travel series coming out that we're filming. We've got big matches in Augusta next week that we're filming, a live show next week. We got Barstool Mini Golf is back next week, the annual tournament, Ryder Cup style this time. So everything's sort of building up to these couple weeks, and it's finally here, gentlemen. I'm ready to rock.
These are 2 huge weeks in our calendar. Everything's kind of packed in. Yes, we're going to McLemore Resort. It's in the mountains of Georgia. We'll be filming there all week. We're very excited. They have a brand new golf course on top of the cliffs. Completely brand new, like brand spanking new. So very excited to see those facilities. We're going to do like an old style foreplay travel series video with we're going to sit everyone down that did the golf course and that runs like the restaurants and all of that, just like we did at Tobacco Road and Pinehurst and in Australia. Like when we have a new place like this, we want to be able to show everyone that watches it, like, hey, this is a new golf resort and these are all the good and the bad. And this is why you should either book here or not book here. And that's exactly kind of the basis of what the travel series used to be. So we're going to get back to that. We got Jerry and Francis and Beef all coming down. So we'll come up with some good formats. Yeah. We'll do a nice little major and see how everyone's game is at. And then we'll do some fun 3-on-3 style videos. And yeah, mini golf's going to be massive. We got Jeff D. Lowe texting our team, figuring out matchups. It's Ryder Cup. I don't know what's on the line, by the way. I have no idea what's on the line. Have they announced what we're playing for this mini golf? Because it could get as intense as anything's ever gotten.
I don't think so. I don't think they've said.
No, I don't think so either. But folks, if they recall, last year was what, $20,000 for first place that Whitney won, and then it was like $10,000, $7,000, $5,000. So I imagine there's going to be some pretty serious stakes going on here. But it's 10 versus 10. There was the qualifier tournament that they did to kind of get everybody in, and then they included the worst players so that there's a good mix. It's going to be some alternate shots, some best ball, some singles. Kirk Minahan, myself and Trent Ryan are on Team Kirk.
Yes, sir.
Kirk has been side texting everyone individually, essentially, requesting their blind loyalty in full commitment to winning. the mini golf, which I'm obsessed with. So we've been grinding over pairings, and we have been discussing leadership roles and all kinds of good stuff coming from behind the scenes at Kirk. So I think don't sleep on the mini golf tournament because that's going to deliver this year.
It's going to be incredible. And listen, I'm not going to get into the details of what me and Captain Kirk have been texting about, but we're ready. The team is getting dialed, and it's going to be a hell of a matchup. We do have a lot of things coming up in the next 2 to 3 weeks, but the mini golf is right at the top of my list in terms of things that I'm excited to do. So excited to get to Chicago and get that thing going.
I don't know if our guy Beef knows it just yet, but that's the biggest week of his life. He's on Dave Portnoy's team. Ooh. Dave hired him. This is a golf competition, putting. This is huge. I don't know what the pairings are going to be or anything, but if Dave Portnoy's around Beef and there's some big putts, I mean, it's a big week for all of us, but you know what I'm saying? This is this is a big one. So if he's listening to this, if this gets across his desk, start putting, get prepared. Let's dial in that flat stick, big fella, because this is a big one. This is a big week. You don't want to be staying over a 3-footer and rim out the putt in front of Dave Portnoy, and he's gonna be like, "I thought you were the pro." It's gonna be a lot of heat on Big Beef. So I'm very excited for it. He can definitely handle it. He's really good on the greens too. So I think this is something that he's waiting for. So I'm very excited. It's gonna be great. And yeah, I mean, Masters Week is obviously the best week of the year. I can't wait, man. I absolutely cannot wait for all of this.
Me neither. I'm fired up. Let's get into some of the golf. We got a little bit of an announcement. We're going to have our spring merchandise line is coming out, I believe, next week. The gear looks fantastic. We're going to be rocking it all week long when we're filming all of these videos, so we get to actually try it on, wear it, take photos, takes all kinds of content for the first time with the spring gear. I love, everybody can kind of feel and sense it's springtime. I've been hearing whispers that you guys had like an 80-degree day up in the New York area recently. Spring colors, spring excitement. The Masters, we're starting to see Masters commercials during March Madness. So everybody's kind of feeling that. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for the spring merchandise line next week. And then we've also got, I believe this week, Johnson Wagner. He's a tailor-made athlete. He's the best. I love what he did, a little pop-in on the Foreplay podcast. We were at the Players Championship, and he's just got that smile. He's got that mustache. He's got that lovable quality about him. He's out there throwing them into all kinds of impossible situations where the best players in the world were faced with as big a challenge as you could have, and they just throw him out there on the live TV coverage and see how he can do. He's crushing that bit. He's crushing it kind of in the golf media world. We filmed a video with him down at TaylorMade Media Day several months ago, and he's a multiple-time tour winner. But he doesn't really play a ton of golf anymore. He's doing the media thing, so he's very funny out there. So we got the Johnson Wagner video coming out, I believe, this week.
We saw his name on the Texas Children's Houston Open Trophy right before we were about to tee off. We were looking at the names, and sure enough, Johnson Wagner was on there. 2008, maybe he was on there. He won that tournament.
Right.
It was like,
I think that's
people kind of forget. I know he's got this thing going where he hits really hard shots on broadcast, but a decade and a half ago, this guy was winning PGA Tour tournaments. So he's the real deal.
He is the real deal. I love that guy. He's great. So yeah, we got a video coming out with him. All right. Let's roll into the Texas Children's Houston Open. We were down there on Wednesday. We played the golf course, which is such a cool insight when you're watching the event throughout the weekend. We had a bunch of merchandise down there. So thanks to everybody who bought some. I saw a ton of requests. People were like, can I get this online if they can't make a tournament? So merchandise came out great. But we played in the Pro-Am on Wednesday. That video will be coming out soon. And then the tournament came down to the wire. There were a bunch of pretty damn big names up there. I mentioned Gary Woodland, Scottie Scheffler, Rory McIlroy making a charge. But it was Min Woo Lee's day. He just went low and then lower. I think he had back-to-back career low rounds Friday and Saturday to get himself a pretty substantial lead. He had a great full swing episode that was all about kind of him and his sister, and his sister being this dominant major champion in the women's game, and him being this star, social media star, rising star in the world of golf. He turned pro in 2019. He's won 3 times on the European Tour, but hadn't broken through and won on the PGA Tour. He had a few years ago, really had a great chance at the Players Championship. Was not able to get it done. This year again, he has a great chance at the Players Championship. I think he shot like a 78 there at the end and took himself out of it. He mentioned after yesterday's tournament that he got a lot of negative comments after that. As you can imagine, it's kind of what comes with being a bit social media star. So anyways, all this kind of pent up, almost like, is this guy an underachiever? Because everybody talks about him. He's hitting stingers. He's got 190-something ball speed. he's this like charismatic Australian young dude who is just awesome, and he should be a total star in the game, but he hasn't won. A little Ricky Fowler-esque there to a degree, kind of reminded me of. Well, he goes out there and gets it done. It was a hell of a final round. I was watching throughout pretty much the entire time, from some wild tee shots and drops, and there was all kinds of controversy with Alejandro Tosti, which I want to get into, who was out there like chirping about pace of play and then making his own pace of play issues and then purposely slow playing on the 12th hole, which had bones all rattled. So there's a lot going on, but Min-Woo Lee breaks through, gets the win. He was very fired up at the end. And that's just one of those, as Dave would love to see, good for golf moments that Min-Woo Lee breaks through and gets a win.
Yeah, really. I mean, obviously, when we go to a golf event, it feels bigger than when we're just watching it on TV. So we were there on the ground, saw the golf course. So I really was dialed in this weekend. And I think the most interesting part, which we didn't know until we got there, was that at Memorial Park Golf Course in Houston, it's a public golf course, municipal, awesome layout, really big, like foundation area that like someone had constructed that's like for children to learn the game of golf, and it's like a learning center, and it's very much about like it's the hub of Houston learning golf. That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
And the course seems to be, I don't know how much money they put into this place, but the story is that they wanted to get bigger names to come to the Houston Open. So they essentially put in the same grass and all the stuff that you would see at Augusta National, they have at the Houston Open. So this Memorial Park Golf Course is legitimately like a Houston version of Augusta National. The rough is cut to the same length. The fairways are cut to the same length. The green surrounds, everything feels and looks like Augusta, so that if you're doing your schedule and you're revving up for the Masters, you will get like a Rory McIlroy, Scottie Scheffler, all these guys that want to get kind of revved up for the biggest week of the year. I think that's fucking genius. Like the fact that they turned it into like a Augusta National, qualifier almost is like the coolest thing ever to me. So I think that's such a great thing for them to hang their hat on, where it's like, hey, this is why you come here. And they raise a ton of money, obviously, for the Texas Children's Foundation. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's amazing. It's an amazing event. I really never knew anything about it going in. And the course was absolutely mint. And it's a place, too, like when you're playing it, you can hit it anywhere. The rough's not that crazy, similar to like, I guess, what Augusta would be. And just the greens kind of get you. If you're on the wrong side of the green, it's really hard to attack it. And when the wind is up, it's really hard, as you saw on some of those days that, some of the stretches were like plus 41. The next day was like 200 under. It was like crazy depending on what the wind was doing. So I really, really just enjoyed my time there. And I thought the course was awesome. It's like a place that I would go back to and play like 1,000 times. Dude, I really enjoyed the course.
There were times when we were playing, when we'd be walking during the Pro-Am where, like you're saying, it would look like Augusta. And that sounds crazy. You're in downtown Houston. Like if you look up, you see the Houston skyline and you're like, oh shit, we're just in Houston. Now, obviously when you cut the rough down that much and you've got Rory McIlroy and Scottie Scheffler and Min-Woo Lee showing up, it's not as hard of a golf course as Augusta National. So there's going to be, like, I think there were a bunch of 62s this weekend. Like that's obviously going to happen, but I'm with you, Frankie. I like that. Like if you're going to be the tournament right before the Masters, pretty much, try to entice guys as much as you possibly can to come play your tournament, and you will get like a Rory McIlroy and a Scottie Scheffler. And that, like, it's weird talking about like local tournaments when you're like, that's so big for that tournament in that area, but it is huge. Like Rory McIlroy and Scottie Scheffler don't go to every single tournament. The ones that they go to outside of the elevated events are a big deal for that tournament in itself. So, and then, Scottie was obviously in the mix, and I think Rory finished top 5. So yeah, just a really, really successful weekend for that tournament, I would think.
Before we get into the actual tournament, when we played the Pro-Am, and I tweeted this and put it on Instagram story, and I don't think I conveyed exactly what I was trying to get across. We talked about this with Rory McIlroy's shot during his practice round on Wednesday. What hole was that? 15? The one where the water's right in front? Is it 15? It's before the par 3, I think. Yeah, the par 5. Something on the back.
It's 16. 16 with the water all up the right and then short of the green.
Okay, so 16th hole, it's like 635 yards, I think we played it. And it's like, and we played it dead into the wind. The wind was crazy. We were playing with Vince Whaley, who's like 140th on the World Golf Rankings. This guy like is a really good golfer, but it just goes to show how fucking hard golf is, where it's like he's just
really good golfer.
He's unbelievable. He looks like freaking Glenn Powell. The guy's ripped. He's huge. He hits the ball a mile. We played this this hole the same day that Rory McIlroy did, maybe like 2 hours after he did, right? Wind's kind of in your face all day. Tough golf course. We're playing it from back with them. You're going to see the video. We did a video with Nico Echevarria and Vince Whaley. And we played this hole. We piped the drive as a 3-man scramble as far as we could hit it. Vince hit it as far as he could hit it in the left rough. He had like 275 to the hole. So he had a 3-wood in his hand, and he's like, I looked at him. I'm like, he laid up. I'm like, are you going for it? He's like, I just simply can't. Like today, you just can't go for it. Like it's one of those numbers where it's like, maybe if it was downwind, like, yeah, you're going to go for like the back of the green, but like today, impossible. So then we're like, all right, he laid up, ends up making a birdie or par, whatever. We get in the car. We're on our way to the airport. We see that TaylorMade puts up a video of Rory McIlroy playing the same hole. He hits a driver and iron into that green and makes an eagle. And we're looking at each other being like, we just played with a professional golfer that absolutely pounded the ball off the tee, had a 3-wood in his hand and said, I cannot make it, so I'm going to lay up. And Rory's hitting driver iron to like 25 feet and makes the putt. That is like, that I thought about that for 4 straight days. I couldn't stop thinking about. And I know that there's better golfers than other golfers in professional sports. There's better athletes than other athletes in professional sports. Some pitchers throw 100 and other guys throw 88. Like, that's just like the way the world works. Rory doing that on that day, like, bro, we laid up and had 140 yards in. I think we hit driver, 4-iron, 6-iron in. And I know we're shitty golfers, but remember, like, dude, we're human beings. Into that like, we still have arms and legs.
No.
Yeah, it was straight into that wind, and I remember, we had laid up because we didn't know how far the water was, whatever, up there, and I think Frankie hit the best one, just like you kind of like punched a 4-iron up there or something. We got up, we had like 140 in straight into a 20-mile-an-hour wind. Everybody was like ballooning him a little. We weren't quite sure, so I just like tried to punch us. So legit went driver, 4-iron, 6-iron is what I did on that hole. And Rory went driver, iron, and made birdie. Just like, he couldn't have been hitting. There's not that many more irons than a 6-iron, so maybe he had a 4-iron or a 5-iron in. It's like, yeah, so did I from our third shot after good ones. Like, we hit good shots.
Yeah, crazy. Insane. Absolutely crazy, man. Just he's a special human being in the fact that, like, you really just don't see that often. That's like, when you got players on tour being like, I don't know how he does that shit, that's when it's like another level, man. And I know this is all obvious. He's Rory McIlroy, but it's just fun to see. Like, we talk about golf for a living and we're on this podcast and we have to break down certain things. We give our takes, and then you get to see it up close, like once in a while. And it really just gets your juices flowing. It gets that fire even hotter where you can't believe this guy's doing this stuff.
Well, I'm sure we're going to get to it later in the podcast, because I saw Riggs's tweet this morning about Rory, and him and I are very much on the same page. We can get into the Houston Open, but I want to talk about Rory later because, and Frankie's getting me even more juiced up about that. So Rory's playing some good golf right now.
You know, let's talk Rory. He okay. I have made my wager for the Masters tournament. I put a good amount of money on Rory McIlroy to win the Masters tournament. I did it about 3 days ago or so. I think maybe Friday, something like that, is when Rory had a pretty solid round to get himself back in contention in the tournament. And I said, I'm doing it. It was like plus 650, I think is what it was on the DraftKings Sportsbook. I don't know if it's changed. Me and Kirk are going to do Chasing Greens, the iconic gambling show that everybody loves. We are going to do that live from Chicago when we're there for the mini golf on Wednesday of Masters Week. So we'll have a bunch of other plays, top 10s, top 20s, all kinds of fun stuff. But I like to go pretty ham responsibly on a person and chase them. And I'm going with Rory. I know that's kind of where you were going, Trent. I'm in the exact same boat. He's talking about this elbow thing, which I don't know if he's doing that a little bit to like tamper expectations. I don't know but they're asking him what his plans were. He said, oh yeah, my coach is coming in. We get a couple tweaks we got to make going into Augusta. I got this elbow thing. I need to get some treatment. And then sure enough, first things first, all the PJ trackers out there, Rory McIlroy's jet landed in Augusta, Georgia. He is there. We're a week out from the Masters. He's already won the Players Championship, and he's won at Pebble Beach, two of the most iconic courses that we have in the United States here. He's never had 2 wins this early before. He's coming off a year where, last year, so many close calls, yet playing fantastic golf. He's gotten up to 28 now, PGA Tour wins. I'm a little worried about this Scottie Scheffler guy, if we're being honest. Like, he hadn't really had a Scottie Scheffler type performance yet, and I know we finished second, but that's still second place against a guy who shot back-to-back career low rounds is like Scottie still only lost by one shot. So I'm a little worried about this Scottie Scheffler fella and that he's rounding into shape going into a golf course where he's just mentally got the advantage. He's already won 2 of them. There's absolutely no weight on his shoulders, it feels like. I know that's crazy to say. He's world number 1, but like he is going in such a less pressurized environment than our guy Mr. McIlroy is going in, because it's like house money at this point. He's won 2 Masters in the last 3 years. He won 1 million tournaments last year. He was like shrugging it off when Minwoo Lee was doing his funny little aim point thing. Scottie's just like laughing, not a care in the world. So I'm worried about the Scheffler guy. But outside of that, man, Rory is just swinging the club right now. He got through the Players' Championship without his A game, it feels like, and was still able to win the biggest event of the year so far. So, yeah, dude, I'm all in on the Rory train going into this tournament. I really am.
I'm with you, man. He's still plus 650 on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. I'm going to be hitting that as well. And yeah, no, he's just obviously been playing really well. And I'm sure you could run back this podcast. We've been doing it for almost 10 years. There's probably 7 of those years where we have this exact same conversation during this week. And I won't apologize for it. I love Rory McIlroy. I want him to complete the career Grand Slam. And I'm just going to, he's 35 years old now. I was looking, man. He won that first U.S. Open in 2011. It's been 14 years since he won that first one. That is not a small stretch of time, but we're not going to talk about that. What's that?
I got a great stat for you. I was pulling this up. I just did this, my own little Justin Ray. It took me like 10 hours to figure this out. But Rory McIlroy is encroaching upon the same number of days in between major championship victories as Tiger Woods went from 2008 through 2019 when he won that U.S. Open on a broken leg and a torn ACL. He didn't win a major again until the 2019 Masters tournament. That was 3,954 days was that streak. Rory McIlroy is at 3,882 days since his PGA Championship win at Valhalla in 2014. The date that he would cross that threshold and have a longer stretch between Tiger's and his is June 8th, 2025, which means if he doesn't win the Masters or the PGA this year, his streak will be longer than Tiger, who went through about 47 lifetimes in that stretch between 2008 and 2019. That is how shockingly long it has been since Rory won his last major championship.
Rory might be such a Tiger Woods diehard that he's doing this as an homage to Tiger Woods, where he's just, this gap has been so long, and we've all lived so many lives in between since Rory won his last major and now. I love it. He's really playing so well, and he's won a couple of golf tournaments already. You go look at his results going back into late 2024. He's just played really, really well, really consistently. What we really need, Riggs, is we need somebody in the media during his media day to piss him off. They got to ask him about Live. They got to ask him about YouTube golf. They got to ask him hey, why'd you take that fan's phone? Like, give him something where he starts to feel like he's getting backed into a corner, and then he's going to win the Masters by 8 strokes. That's something we really need.
It's a great point. A little too like grab assy ever since the Players' Championship victory. You know, he was a little spicy during the Players that entire week, as you talked about, with the phone incident, shitting on YouTube golf, just kind of shitting all over the Champions Tour, like laughing at these old men that play golf still for a living. And then, of course, he won the Players' Championship. Now, you're right. It feels like ever since then, he's kind of happy. He's got his couple wins. He finished top 5 in Houston, but nobody was really talking about him that much. He was just kind of out there hitting 3 woods from 292 yards to like 10 feet and making putts. I need him a little fired up. I need him spicy. So, yeah, we got some friends in the media center there. We could get some questions planted, I think, and get him a little bit pissed off, because he hasn't really, I was looking at his finishes at the Masters tournament, and don't get me wrong, he's got, 2014 tied for 8th, 2015 4th, 2016 10th, 2017 7th, 2018 5th, 2019 21st, 2020 tied for 5th, got cut in 2021, then 2nd in 2022. Then missed the cut, then 22nd last year. However, outside of that 2018, which is when Patrick Reed won, when he was in the final group with him, even that 2022 when he finished 2nd, that was when him and Morikawa both hold out from the bunker. That he wasn't really like in contention, he was like kind of charging from behind, whatever. So he hasn't really been like in contention at the Masters in 7 years or so. We need a good, strong start. I know that sounds very obvious, but I just don't like this where Rory, he's been known as the backdoor top 10 guy forever. We need him like coming out strong, having a good Thursday, a good Friday, and then it's like go time with him in one of the last two groups or something going into Saturday. We can't have this where like, oh, Rory's name did the little graphic thing and appeared going up the leaderboard onto the top 10 for the first time on like Saturday afternoon. We need him there from the beginning. You know what I mean? I feel like he's let us down on that front.
What an interesting look into how hard it is to win majors. I always have that debate about Tiger Woods and how he's the greatest golfer of all time. And you got my buddies like Brian and Tommy that I say that are in the group chat that just absolutely murder Tiger Woods and the fact like, oh, this is what happens when you take, HGH and like you mess up your private life and all these things, like you don't win for decades. And it's like, all right, so you're telling me that the reason that Tiger didn't win was because of all these things that happened to him. He had all these surgeries and it's all self-inflicted. And like, if he would have stayed healthy, he would have been the greatest golfer of all time, in your opinion. Now you got a guy like Rory McIlroy, who's considered one of the greatest golfers of his generation, has been extremely healthy this entire lifespan of the time that you're saying that Tiger Woods failed his life and never was able to win. And if he just would have stayed healthy and like grounded and moral and all these things, that he would have won all these majors, right? You got a guy like Rory McIlroy, and it's hard to compare because we're saying that Tiger's the greatest of all time. Rory is not in that conversation, but he's the greatest of his one of the greatest of his generations. He's Rory McIlroy. He is above the rest. Like there is there's a pool of golfers, and then there's Rory McIlroy, the Scottie Schefflers, Tiger Woods. These guys that elevate themselves to another level. Brooks Koepka, they elevate themselves to another level in the biggest stages. Rory has done that. Now you're telling me that he's gone the same amount of time as Tiger Woods during all that trauma and drama and craziness, where he's just been plugging along, playing every single major, trying his damnedest to fucking lift these trophies, and just simply can't do it. He just can't get it done because of the parity in golf, how hard it is to win majors. You get 4 cracks at it every single year. I'm sorry, man. Like, it's just a look into just how much this game has changed. A Rory McIlroy, and this is, you could say this about every sport, and we're not going to go down the rabbit hole, but like a Rory McIlroy that plays in 1975 wins like 1,000 majors. The guy's unbelievable at golf. He's insane. He's hitting the ball further than anyone's ever hit the ball. He's a fucking monster out there, and he can't win majors. We're the same amount of time as Tiger. We didn't even see Tiger Woods for 10 years. We didn't lock eyes on Tiger Woods for like a decade.
Rory has done nothing but get healthier as his career has progressed.
He's hot. He's ripped.
He's super hot. He's ripped. He walks with a bounce in his step. He's
won
really
the tour championship like 1,000,000 times. The guy's won more money than anyone on tour.
He's really embraced the fitness side of golf, almost more than anybody else, at least that we've seen. Like
he was like a slob when he first came out there.
I know. I feel bad, but you go back and look at those old pictures. He's the hair's everywhere,
dude. Him and Shane Lowry in that fucking Netflix episode, they had quite the glow up,
big time.
But he's really embraced it. Now he's gotten better looking, but he's also just his body seems to be in way better shape. And you're right. It's a really interesting comparison where it's like, I know they're different players. They're Tiger, Rory, whatever. But it's, there's no right way to do it. There seems to be no wrong way to do it. It's hard to get it done on the biggest stage. And it's hard to say that about Rory, even like, because he'll win the Players, he'll win the Tour Championship, he'll win a bunch of elevated events. It's not like he's not winning golf tournaments. Like when Tiger went away, he was just gone. And you never heard from him again. And Rory is constantly knocking on the door. Pinehurst is a great example of that. I know it didn't end the way that he wanted, but that's still knocking on the door. And he's just right there. And I hope it happens.
Someone could be listening to this and saying like, oh, you're just describing two guys that can't get it done. Like, I don't know what you're trying to compare. And I guess my point is like, no matter what, there still could have been a decade of like no wins for Tiger Woods, regardless of health and all these things that happen. It just simply happens. Like Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas, and these guys win, and then they don't win for a long time. Rory McIlroy, they win, and then they don't win for a long time. I mean, Brooks Koepka was on top of the world, winning every single major that he played in, and then he doesn't do it. Like, I don't know. It's just,
well, what you can compare, it's not a numbers thing, but it's like, if you're talking talent, Tiger Woods clearly has the most talent in the history of golf. Like, that is undeniable. Yeah. And I would put Rory way up there. Rory clearly, regardless of the finishes and, how many majors he has or however long it's been, he is, of his generation, I would say, the guy who has the most talent. And what that shows is that talent isn't always the number one thing. It certainly helps. If you have a truckload of talent, you're probably going to win more than the other guys. but it's not a guarantee, is what we're saying.
Yeah, and the interesting part with Rory, comparing those two stretches of winless, they truly are night and day. Like we said, dude, Tiger, he had the scandal, then he had the chipping yips, like the legitimate chipping yips. Then he had all of the back surgeries and issues. Like from a physical standpoint. So it wasn't like Rory. I looked it up. I just counted, so I could have counted incorrectly, but Rory, I believe, has 11 top fives in majors since his last major championship win. That is 11 times. He had the heartbreak at Pinehurst. He had the heartbreak at St. Andrews when he legitimately teed off with the lead, hit 18 out of 18 greens in regulation, had 36 putts and shot like 2 under. And Cam Smith made every putt under the sun and shot like 7 under, whatever the hell it was, and won the tournament. Same deal at Pinehurst, where it's like, he missed those last 2 putts, absolutely bogeyed, I believe, 3 of the last 4. So that is wildly different and much more in line of like not being able to get it done compared to Tiger, who just like wasn't even in a position to come out of his house for like 11 years. Very, very different. And that's what makes it like almost like much more heartbreaking. Like Rory, we talked about that whole drought. Rory is only 35 years old right now.
Right.
Like Phil was almost about this age when he won his first major for the first time. Like,
Right.
That's like how nuts it is that Rory came out. He didn't go play like college golf. He turned pro very young. He was playing in the Ryder Cup at a young age. He won that 2011 U.S. Open after collapsing at the Masters that same year by like 8 shots and then won 4 majors in the next 3 years. So he was that guy and has been that guy. Like you said, like the FedEx Cup, the Players Championship wins, those are about as representative of being consistently the best player or one of the best players as you could possibly have, especially the FedEx Cup. Like winning that means that like over the course of the year, and then when it's a little bit weighted in the playoffs, like you played the best throughout the whole year. And then at the end when it really mattered, like he's been right there. He's won like 3 or 4 of those damn things. So he has been the guy the whole time, which makes it so hard that he hasn't been able to break through. And I know Brandel talks about this on Live From all the time, where he's like, you can feel it as the viewer, that Rory can feel it as the player, that all this anticipation and all this like heartbreak is still on his shoulders when he's trying to win these majors. And I think that's the one thing, that I guess I was trying to say from the very beginning is like Scottie's going in, it feels like just without a care in the world, comparatively speaking, of like, I've got a couple of these jackets already. I put myself in position, so many times in the last 3 years and been able to pretty much get it done most of the time up against everybody else because everybody else has got all this baggage or all this anxiety that like I'm able to handle better than they are. And so it's like, even if you start with the two of them are on equal footing when it comes to like how good they are, it's already like harder for Rory because of all the other BS, which is it's self-inflicted, it's self-brought upon, whatever you want to say, but it also is such a more compelling story because of that, of like, man, they're going to show and they're going to talk about the missed putts at Pinehurst and, him not being able to make any putts coming down the stretch at St. Andrews when he lost that one. Dude, him at LACC when he was right there. I mean, he lost by 1 stroke to Wyndham Clark. Like when he lost by 1 stroke over 72 holes, that is nothing. That doesn't even count. They should just go to a playoff afterwards. It's like, that's so goddamn close. So he's been there so many times. The biggest thing that's got me thinking I really like his chances more this year than the others is the putting. He is putting his golf ball much better. He's always going to be one of the best drivers in the world. He's always going to be one of the best ball strikers in the world. He's got a great short game. He really does. Watching him even on Sunday in Houston was like when he hit that driver 3-wood on like 8 or whatever it was to like 10, 15 feet. And then he just pours it in the middle. I feel like we have done so many of these shows where we've been like, God, we watch Rory just miss makeable putt after makeable putt after makeable putt, and he still finishes 3rd or something like that. Now, watching him at the Players Championship, watching him, at Pebble throughout the whole year, if you look at his stats, his putting is pretty damn good right now. And that's given me a lot of hope because if that guy can roll the rock, I really think it takes a lot of the pressure off the rest of his game and puts him in a spot to hopefully win this damn Masters because that's where my money's at.
I'm in. I'm so in.
Come on.
Hard to win when you got guys like Minwoo Lee and all of these guys that go out there and just
hard
get it
game.
Done. Just a hard game. Scottie
Filled with
Scheffler
talent.
finished 1 stroke back. It's going to be a tough Masters to win this year, fellas. It really is.
It really is, man.
And you
God,
got
it really
Ludwig
is.
sitting there at plus 14. It's it's fun. I'm still going with Rory. I'm going with Rory.
Yep. I'm going with Rory too.
It's great. I mean, I'll probably tell a little bit. It's just value is like tough. Like only 6-1 to win the Masters is like that's it's gonna be so hard to win this one. Like you want some juice if you're putting in your eggs in a basket.
I mean, the guy has gone 40 majors in a row without winning one or something like that,
Right.
and we're like, oh, he's 6-1 to win.
You're walking up to
like,
the roulette table being like, it's gonna be black. Everyone's like, it's been red for 40 rolls in a row. So what do you want to do?
We're due, baby. We're due.
We're
it's
due.
worse.
Yeah,
than
they've
that.
been
It's
saying
like,
you've been due since 20.
We're due, baby.
Right.
We're due.
You're going up and saying like, this is gonna be the number 9, and they're like,
yeah.
What do you mean? It's only the number 9, 1 out of
9 hasn't hit in 40 years.
We're due.
God.
And you got
but
the live
table
guys
is
like no one knows how they're playing. You got like John Rahm coming into this thing. Like no one knows if that guy's just gonna go win the Masters again.
Yeah,
The guy's literally won the Masters. He's gonna show up and like be hitting. When John Rahm was winning the Masters, we were like, no one can beat this guy ever.
True.
He 4-putted the first hole. He made like a double bogey, de-greened, and then won by he went on an unbelievable tear where he just won the Masters. We were like,
yep,
this guy's a machine.
I know, dude. I was watching a 9 holes at 90-second thing or style video yesterday on my Instagram of Joaquin Neiman, and he looks like the best player in the history of golf. I mean, I was watching this guy swing. I was like, holy shit. And I know Phil had the comments and whatnot, but it's like, I kind of started listing guys, just writing them down this morning on my way to get a coffee. It's like Scottie, Rory, Colin Morikawa, Victor Hovland, Minwoo Lee, Xander Schauffele, Bryson DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka, Joaquin Neiman, John Rahm. Like, look at these names that could just show up and Ludwig. Like, look at these names that could show up and just win this golf tournament.
I know that you have a gambling show with Kirk, and it's going to be incredible. I'm sure like it'll be the pinnacle of sports gambling talk for the Masters, which I cannot wait for. But I do think the smart thing to do is to do a Rory, and then also like make sure that you are putting your eggs in one of these long shot baskets. Like you gotta have some value with the Masters. You have to.
I agree with that.
Right? Like you can't just like you can't chalk it the whole way up because it's just too hard of an event to win.
I don't know. It might be the year of the chalk, dude. We got 4 number 1 seeds in the March Madness, dude. Although chalk, I guess, I mean, Scotty's at plus 350. I hear what you're saying, though. You gotta get value somewhere else too.
You have to.
Yeah.
You got to take some. You got to take a little bit of a shot. I think there's nothing wrong with that. The best part of college basketball is here. That's true. It's been a incredible couple weeks. Big shout out once again to Frankie and to the Hogs and to Arkansas, and then just the entire tournament. It's been fantastic to watch. I was watching even a little college hockey last night. I was watching Denver and Boston College as they're fighting for the Final Four, which is in St. Louis. I'm thinking about going when it's in St. Louis. I'm going to be in town. It is Masters weekend that the Frozen Four is in St. Louis, which is another great sign for everything hockey-wise that's going on in St. Louis. But if I was going to check out tickets, I'm going to check it out on Game Time. You just pull up your chosen event. You turn on the GT Picks setting at the top of the screen or browse the best local Game Time Picks deals near you on the Game Time app homepage. But you can find last-minute tickets for the tournament for up to 60% off quickly and easily. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. We pretty much live to go to events, gentlemen.
Yeah, we talk a little baseball on the show. Weather's starting to get nicer. I saw there was a 75-degree day up in New York City. Yeah, it's baseball season. Obviously, the tournament's going on. Just a lot of things that you can go to. And if you go on Game Time, you're going to find the best tickets, the best prices. It really is an incredible, incredible app. You put in your location. It shows everything that's going on around you. Download the Game Time app and use it and go to things.
Yeah, I'm looking right now on the Game Time app. Diamondbacks at New York Yankees tomorrow, or when this comes out tonight. You hit the GT Picks, and it just gives you, let's say, 20 options of what they think are the best. I'm looking at right behind home plate in the fourth deck, $3 to go to a New York Yankees game.
Whoa!
Or you can go right below that in section 221 row 221A, which is one of actually my favorite sections in the stadium. It's like right next to where they call the game. It's right next to the press box, and it's got a perfect view down. You really are never it's never strenuous to see where the ball is, where the strikes are. It's right behind home plate. $80 to go watch the New York Yankees right behind home plate. You've got them making the sandwiches right behind you too. You can get a nice steak sandwich
Illegal
right behind you in that
bats.
section 220. It's the Torpedo Bats. Go on Game Time. There's no better time right now. The Yankees are hot. Baseball's hot. There's a lot of concerts around the schedule on the docket. Game Time app is about to be loaded up with good events.
Yeah, I'm looking. You can go to Frankie's favorite arena, Madison Square Garden, the Wild. They're at the Rangers on Wednesday night. I'm seeing tickets from $69. You could sit right behind the net, where it looks like the Rangers shoot twice for $116. So all kinds of great deals with GT picks at Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code FORE, F-O-R-E, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem that code is FORE. $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it? Game Time. Sport Clips isn't just where you get a haircut, it's your playbook for looking fresh. What I love about the Sport Clips feature is you can log in online, check your location or a couple different locations around. You can see exactly what the wait time is estimated to be, sign up, and then you just walk in when it's your time. So you're not going to have to waste any extra time waiting. If you do wait, they got like incredibly comfortable, a lot of those like arena style cushiony chairs. They've always got games on. You can walk in, you can catch the game, especially now that baseball's back, and sit back with the pros in men's hair. They handle the rest. You can do the MVP experience, which I love. They do the shampoo. They give you a nice warm towel. It's a whole experience. Walk out feeling like you're ready to take on anything. Sport Clips is the spot to go, gentlemen.
I was literally there yesterday.
Yeah.
We got this long trip coming up, 2 weeks. I wanted to have my hair right, get my hair cut, and I did. I got the MVP treatment. They give you the warm towel on the face. They shampoo the hair. They bring out the shoulder massager where you're sitting in the chair and they just boom, 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 hit you with that. It really is an incredible experience, and they're everywhere. Just go on their website. They've got a store locator. Get your hair cut. Get ready. Summer's coming along. You got to look your best, and Sport Clips really is the best place to go.
Yeah, download the app, and then you can track your real-time wait times. You can check in online. Sport Clips, the haircut experience dialed in for guys. It's a game changer. Yeah, man, I'm excited. They announced new driving range features for the Masters tournament this year. This tournament just continues to be obviously the absolute best. I cannot wait to get down there. Live show Monday night. Going to the tournament all day Tuesday with my dad. A bunch of people are going to be there that I know, so I can't wait for that. I'm looking at the weather. It looks pretty good for Tuesday right now. But yeah, they announced new driving range features. You're going to be able to watch in every shot with full shot link, shot tracer data on every single shot from every player on the driving range.
Wow. We actually got invited to some IBM like technology tour at Augusta, and I don't think we can make it. Like, we're doing stuff.
Damn it.
And we're like, yeah, we're doing something. I think maybe playing a match that day or something like before the live show. But yeah, we were offered to like see how they do all of this, because it's, they gear up for 7 days and they put the most money and technology in it ever. That's the most. You got to think about how hard it is to wrap your head around how much money is put into one golf tournament. When like you have these stadiums that host, baseball, they host 81 games, and then they also have concerts and all these things. So it's like all the technology in those places, you understand it. This is like for 7 days a year. It's fucking now with the women's amateur, they get to extend it, but I don't think they put all the nuts and bolts into that one as much as they do for this. But,
no.
Dude, it's fucking incredible the amount of technology. You get to see every single shot the second the ball is hit on the app. The app is the greatest invention in sports.
It is funny thinking about like it's a golf course. It's old. It's everything about the Masters is the history and past champions, and wow, it's just you kind of go back in time when you go there because you don't have your phone. And then underneath that like first layer of tradition is just the best technology you've ever seen in your life, because the app is the greatest. This new driving range thing is going to be awesome. And like, I mean, it used to be, not anymore, where the TV coverage didn't start till like 3 p.m. on Friday. And you're like, all right, we finally get to watch the Masters. Now you go on the app and you can just watch everything. It's really, it's like a modern marvel that you don't see the nuts and bolts of it because they don't want you to see it. They just want you to see, no, people come to see the green and the caddies in white and the players, and that's it. But what goes into it And we don't even know. But what goes into it has to be one hell of an effort and a lot of money.
Yeah, the greatest effort that exists in golf, and it is, it is. It helps when you just have unlimited money. That's definitely a big part of it for sure. But I mean, the Masters, when you think about it, right? When you watch, like, they have their 3 or 4 big partners, but they don't do any like hospitality on the golf course. They don't do other sponsors with commercials. So it's like you see only those 3 or 4 partners get commercials during the broadcast. So there's very limited commercials. And then they're able to deliver the best app and the best product that you can have imagined. It's clean, right? It's not like littered with all kinds of stuff. It's clean. On any given hour, it's like the most golf shown of any major broadcast because they do, like I said, limited commercials. They just do it perfectly, and it all adds and feeds to the aura that we have around the Masters of like, you just can't get any better than the Masters. When you have a club like Augusta National that truly, from the merchandise to the actual membership to the desire for anyone to be involved with the Masters tournament, they are able to derive and have so much revenue that they can keep everything clean, which is not really fair to like compare it to all the other majors because like the US Open and the PGA, they don't really have much of a choice other than to try to like commercialize every single aspect of it because they just don't have a club and they're not the Augusta National. But regardless of what the reasons are, it is like, as we talk about it, I was thinking like the cleanliness of the whole thing of it's green. The scoreboard on the app is like literally the scoreboard
The marketing.
from the golf, the actual marketing around it. There's no like video boards on property. I was thinking about that when I was watching some old clips of like, somebody was mentioning during the Players, I think it was like Rory, it was like, oh yeah, I was able to see his shot on the video board by 17. It's like, there's no video boards at Augusta. It's just the old school scoreboard, leaderboard. Oh God, it's just perfect. I can't wait to start seeing footage of it next week.
Every commercial's perfect. Shout out to Noah Khan. I know that kind of made its way onto Twitter and Instagram, people giving their takes and stuff. Noah Khan is, if not my favorite, one of my favorite artists that I listen to every single day, and him being paired up with an Augusta National commercial is like the coolest thing ever. It's our worlds colliding. I know Trent is in the same boat. Like, Noah is the fucking man. He's on top of the world right now. He is one of the greatest recording artists that we have. He has such a unique sound and voice and style, and the fact that, and he loves golf. He's not very good at it, but he still keeps going at it, and he wants to get better. He's at like Trent breaking 100 love of the game of golf, where he's going to keep going and keep trying and keep fucking playing until he gets better. And the fact that he got to do an Augusta National commercial is unbelievable. I thought it was great, and I know a lot of people have had their own opinion on it. I think people are just like if you're going to take Ray Charles out and put someone else in, it could have been fucking Jesus Christ singing it. Everyone would have been like, where's the old song that we're used to for the last 50 years? But I mean, I don't know. I thought it was fucking,
I thought it was great. Yeah, I thought it was great. It's one of those things where I listened to it and it's like nowadays the internet has changed things in so many ways where it's like almost the opinion that you have is based on the reaction. But for me, when I heard the Noah Khan Masters commercial, I was like, I love this. This is amazing. It was one of those times. And then you go on and there's people who are like, oh, why'd they do this? Why'd they do that? But I just remember thinking when I first listened to it, I just thought, this is incredible. Like I loved every second of that. And that's how I felt about it. So yeah, it's very cool that he got to do that. He's having a hell of a year. He's NBA All-Star game. He's getting to do it all. So good for him.
TGL team.
Mm-hmm. He's a great guy. He makes great music. And yeah, I thought it was a very cool thing that he got to do. Really cool.
Noah Khan's live album from Fenway Park is the album of the year for sure. It's like when you take everything into account, he's a New England guy. He lived down the road when he lived in Boston, like he lived in Watertown, and he's just a Boston, New England guy. And he had this rise to stardom out of like just you snap your fingers and all of a sudden you're playing Fenway Park because your music is that good, it resonates with that many people, and it's just like you hear that emotion in this live album from Fenway where he's like, I'm playing Fenway Park right now in front of a sold out crowd that knows every single beat and word to every single song I'm going to sing so loud that like you can actually hear the crowd more than him in the album. It's unbelievable, man. Like that to me is like, that's what music's all about, where it's like, it's a story around it also. Like those songs mean a lot to those people in that part of the world. It's fucking incredible. So what a guy. Also to speak on just how much money Augusta National makes and how incredible their marketing is and how perfect everything is. I mean, I'm almost embarrassed to admit this, but I spent like $160 on their Masters at Home kit for Sunday. Like, so I'm having some people over to watch Augusta, to watch the Masters on Sunday since we'll be home. And it's just egg salad and pimento cheese, and it's $160, right? Like, when you actually think about what you just purchased, right? It says it feeds up to 12 to 14 people, but it's like we're just getting a tub of egg salad and pimento cheese, which is the cheapest stuff you could possibly get at like the grocery store. You could just go to a deli and get a tub of egg salad for $7. And I know you're getting like the cups and you're getting the paper and all that.
For that. You're paying for the paper that covers it.
You're
That's
paying
what
for the
paying
paper.
for,
That's what you're paying for. You're paying
you
for
are.
the paper.
You're paying for the paper. And, you know, when you think of Augusta, you think of old and you're like tradition again, like I said before. But there's a lot of brains behind that brand.
Ooh.
Where they could have just been like, there was one way to go where, and it was like this for a long time, where it was like, shut the doors, don't let the video games in, don't even let the TV coverage in until we say they're going in. And at some point it shifted to like, it's still clean, but we want to commercialize this thing a little bit. We're going to give them a little bit more access for the TV. We're going to make Frankie Borelli pay $160 for egg salad. $185 for egg salad. But it's still, they're not doing it in a way where it feels, no offense, like Disney in the sense of like, just throw everything at everything. You know what I mean? Disney can overdo it to a degree where the Masters just kind of does it. It's elegant and it's beautiful. And they're just really smart. Like you would just think it's a bunch of old guys being like, no, this is how we want it. No. Something happened within the last 10 to 15 years where they're like, this thing is always going to make a lot of money, but do you guys want to make a ton of money? And we're going to do this.
Yeah, and retain the, cleanliness and sharpness of the brand. They don't spoil that at all. And it is being on sort of in the biz a little bit. It's amazing how many people we have met and interacted with who work full time for Augusta National, and they work on, the tournament side of things. And that's just what they do. They live in Augusta. And they they're not out there cutting the grass at Augusta. You know what they're doing? They are working on all of this stuff that we talk about, like incredibly experienced, talented professionals that worked for the PGA of America or for the United States Golf Association or for all kinds of nice, golf clubs around the country who like their full-time job is they're part of a team that works on one of the elements of the Masters that we're talking about right now, whether it's the app, whether it's the paper that they send to Frankie in exchange for $185, like whatever it is, they are very smart. They have really good people that do it. They definitely don't hide in the sense of coming after us if we infringe upon their brand in any way. So they're
fine.
all over, which is understandable. They are all over that thing and it shows, man, in this world to be able to keep it like it is, yet also still be able to profit off of it is not easy to do.
We've seen a couple of those people that you're referring to that have jumped over to the Augusta National side, and you'll see them at an event and just like a very subtle Augusta National flag, like on there, and it feels like the Secret Service is there when they show up. You're like, holy shit.
One time they showed up to our live event at PGA. I believe it was at Oak Hill. We were right across the street at Irondequoit, and a couple of them showed up, and they were legitimately in all black Augusta National gear with just the Masters logo on the chest, wearing head to toe black. And I was like, these guys are they're like the Masters Secret Service has no limits. Like they stretch all the way to the PGA Championship, being like, no, what's going on over here? We were like, no, before you had that at AugustaNational.com email, you would be playing in this event, maybe having a beer or something. Now you're like, they got like headsets on, being like,
no, we're not.
All's good over here. It's very funny, the difference, but yeah, that's what goes into that operation to make it as perfectly smooth as it is. Very impressive.
I mean, we're doing a live show across the street from Augusta from a place that a guy bought like multiple homes, turned it into a basically like restaurant, concert venue, hitting simulator resort with like multiple food options and levels. And this place is open for 7 days a year. And that was like a legitimate investment on this man's part from Club Magnolia. And it like, it probably makes a profit, right? Like that's how crazy this place is that this guy turns a profit 7 days a year on a property when like that's not easy to do. I mean, that's probably the only place in the world that you're able to do that with the amount that place is open. So when we go there, people like laugh out loud. They're like, yeah, this whole town lights up for 7 days and we just make a ton of fucking money. And it's an amazing thing that happens in our country. Like, you know, the Masters is something every walks of life, every single person, no matter what sport you like, even if you don't know golf, you know the Masters. And wow, it's amazing that we get to go down there. Like I'm getting giddy right now. Like I'm ordering $180 paper, but like I can't wait for it. You know, like it's the greatest $180
paper for my Saturday hang with my
Frankie. I did it too. You're not alone.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Augusta took $400 from this podcast.
Just a little bit of paper.
That's incredible.
I might do it too. I'm going to look too. That sounds.
It does come with barbecue pork too. Pork barbecue too.
Okay, great.
Look at this.
So now we're
Taste of the Masters. Elevate your watch
on Goldbelly.
Taste of the Masters, delivering Augusta National Golf Club's timeless concessions to your door. Order now so you can enjoy and serve your guests the ultimate tournament viewing experience for the 2025 Masters. This looks nice.
It's amazing. It is amazing.
They're sold out.
No, even the big one.
Oh no, the large hosting kit. Here we go.
That's the one I got.
Yeah. Well, they don't even offer the other one. I bet they just said
that
it's
other
sold
one
out
sold out. You know what I mean?
No
way.
People are going to that website. No, but you know what I mean. People are going to that website. They're ordering no matter what it is.
True.
So you just sort of force them into. That's what I mean.
Agree.
These guys in the all black Augusta National gear, they know what they're doing. They know what they're fucking.
Look at this, dude. This does look sick. Oh yeah.
Look at Rick. Rick is getting his credit card out right now.
I'm spending reckless money recently.
I mean, a couple minutes here, gentlemen.
I don't know if you guys hear. So I got $185 paper, and then also I don't know if you guys have been hearing all the buzzing going downstairs, but we had a conversation, my wife and I, and we decided that as a team that the baby would like us to replace the backsplash on the kitchen. So I did report a couple weeks ago that the baby wouldn't like the height of the countertop, so we actually cut that whole countertop down to a nice. I believe it's like a 32-inch height, which is, completely efficient to roll a high chair up to now, which is perfect, right? And the baby will be comfortable there, and definitely likes the trim that we picked and the quartz and the whole deal and the veining. We actually had to go through that, pick which kind of color veining. But now what we've decided, since that was done and since we got past that and all that work had been finished, that we're going to actually double down and now shiplap the backsplash. So we're going to do a shiplap backsplash, and we're also going to shiplap the support wall underneath the countertop, because that's what the baby wants. You know, the baby wants shiplap with Drift of Mist paint from Benjamin Moore, and if it doesn't get it, it ain't coming home here.
It's moving out. That baby's
it's moving out.
I'll tell you, as a 36-year-old man, I didn't know what those shiplap words meant. But I know a week-old baby's going to be like, that better be in there by the time I get home. That baby
wants shiplap. It wants to frame out the windowsill behind the kitchen. And it definitely wants Drift of Mist paint to then merge into the paint that's in the living room next door.
Since we're on the topic.
Detail-oriented, I feel like.
Very detail-oriented. Since we're on the topic, how are you feeling? Because we're about a month out now until the due date. How are you feeling overall outside of tearing your whole house down and building it back up?
Nesting is an issue. That's something that we're dealing with right now. She's doing great, though. I mean, like, I'm making jokes about it. It's going great. Everything, knock on wood, has been so seamless. She's essentially not even, like, pregnant. Like, there's none of that, like, yes, if you saw the construction downstairs, she's unbelievably pregnant. But, like, there's no, like, cravings or, like, you hear these stories, like, when you're growing up where it's, like, the movies show us like you got to get in your car and like go get like a tub of ice cream and like you got to bring it back because they were like craving peanut butter at 3:00 in the morning or something. There's been none of that. Like I haven't even been here. You know what I mean? We've been traveling. It's like everything's just been going unbelievably smooth. So in that aspect, I feel good. We've been doing a lot of classes, which are good. They're boring as hell. Learning like how to just like, they're just telling you things that like, I don't know. It's good to like know what to prepare for, but like I'm never going to flip through this book they gave us to be like, all right, the baby's crying at 1:00. What's the kind of like, I'm just going to have to deal with it. Like every parent just figures it out. So but we learned how to like do a diaper and like change a diaper and put it on a baby. My baby was like, it was a weird looking baby, our plastic baby that they handed me. But yeah, no, it was it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know what to think. It's just like, it's nerve wracking.
Sure.
I think the most nerve wracking thing is like the day that we go for the delivery will be like, nothing's ever going to be the same. Like that's the part for me that's like, it kind of makes your heart flutter a little bit.
Sure.
Where like you're excited for it and you want it and it's the greatest thing ever and everyone tells you that, and golf dad hats are selling off the freaking, they're flying off the racks because everyone loves being a golf dad. Everyone loves being a dad and a mom. They love it. But there definitely is that sense of anxiety of like
commercializing your family growth. You know, I love it. It's genius.
That's how it goes.
I mean, you know, you just talked about Augusta marketing. Like, why not just throw a little golf dad on?
It's a great shirt.
It's a beautiful move.
Sold out. Ryan wants that shirt really bad.
The hats are still available actually because we got so many of them, but they're starting to go. You know, it's like a little anxiety feeling. It's like,
of course it is. Yeah,
you know, like we get to just come home and watch sports and like eat shit, like eat like shit, and it's just like, things are just gonna change a little bit. Things are gonna tighten up. Like you just have to like now, no matter what you do until I am dead, have to care for another human being like in a way that I've never had to before.
Totally. So I get it. That's definitely daunting, but
I get asked about it a lot. How's Frankie doing? Kids come.
Oh yeah,
it's
like crazy. That. I mean, but everyone has a kid, so it's like, of course, everyone just gets through with it. But the more I see like my friends go through it, I really don't like. It's amazing. Like when you're a good parent, like you're like you guys are like when a couple's like all in on like making sure everything's perfect for their kid. It's an amazing thing, but it really goes to show you there's like a lot of like bad pieces of shit out there that probably don't care for their kids. Like there's a lot of people that have kids out there, and the amount of stuff that goes into like making sure this kid has like a good life and like it is like cared for. It's a lot. Like I'm watching my godson, like they're non-stop with him, like 24/7 caring for him from the second he wakes up to the second. It's like, if you're just like a piece of shit that doesn't care, or like there's a lot of people in this country that, or this world, that just like aren't that good at that. And that's scary. Like when you see like what goes into it, like we're like preparing for our whole life to change, and you're supposed to, and you have to do that. So it's just been a lot of just like, thinking and realizing just like how crazy this process is. That's really what this next month is like preparing for, your life to change in like an unbelievable way, but pretty drastically.
Big time. But like you kind of mentioned, I just looked it up. AI says estimates suggest that around 108 billion people have lived on Earth. So that means, 108 billion people were just kids at some point. Their parents had to kind of figure it out.
Right, 108 billion times 2, right? And then it's like those that's the amount of people that were like supposed to just like figure out how to keep these 108 billion people alive. Some better than others, insane. And it's just like, hopefully that we do it right. And I'm very, very excited though. I am very excited. I want to just know what this baby looks like. Like I want to know if it's a boy. I want to know if it's a girl. We have no idea, right? Like we have no idea. We haven't even picked
clue.
We haven't even picked a name yet. Like we have no idea.
That part is crazy.
That baby in her belly, we have no clue what it is.
You got to get your eyes on that thing, on that baby.
Crazy. It's crazy. It's moving around, pushing its arm out. Wild. But definitely we don't know the gender and we don't know the name, but we know it loves shiplap and drift of mist paint from Benjamin Moore, not the other ones.
For
not
sure.
Valspar. It's Benjamin Moore, Drift of Mist,
Sherwin
like 77.
Williams, right? Is that another one?
Nope. It's got to be Benjamin Moore, and it's got to be shiplap that's horizontal so that it flows with the rest of the kitchen. And these are things that we know about this baby.
That's
everything else, like what it is, we have no clue.
That's right.
So that's fun. That's a little update right there.
Yep.
All right.
Cool.
Speaking of update, a little Gary Woodland action. Great friend of the show. Phenomenal story. 18 months ago, he had surgery to remove brain tumor. He kind of mentioned it was pushing on the anxiety part of your brain and really just ruining his entire life. He was thinking when he's on airplanes, like the overhead compartments are going to collapse upon him, and just a nightmare of a situation. Went through brain surgery, has returned to the tour. We sat down with him at the Players Championship, but he's trying to make his way back out. He mentioned in the Netflix and on our show that like he really probably shouldn't have been playing, or at least he wasn't in mindset to be playing. He had to take all kinds of meds to try to mitigate all the effects of, the operation and the situation that is going on with his brain. So that does not lend itself to being able to have the energy, the focus, all of it to be able to be out there competing at the highest level on the PGA Tour. Well, Gary Woodland has had a hell of a stretch here. I looked, he's got 4 top 22 finishes this year so far. And then just this past weekend, he birdied the 72nd hole to shoot a course record, tying 62 in the final round and finished second place. And then afterwards, I kind of had Alex Bush pull up this clip, but he gave a nice press conference kind of answer and is very sort of like perspective pie. So let's listen to Mr. Woodland here.
Your perspective on golf, both when you play it poorly and you play it as well as you did today. How is that different?
It's completely different. I'm thankful. I'm thankful to be out here. I am extremely blessed to play this game for a living, to travel the world, to be around the people that are out here that are supporting me, and my family's here. My kids, my son's in first grade, so they don't travel much anymore, and this is spring break for them. They were here, and I thought they were leaving, so to see them when I got done was what I'm fighting for, right? That's why I'm out here, to prove to them that you can overcome anything, and you just got to keep fighting, and I think I showed a little bit of that today.
That's a good dad right there. We just got done talking about like it's hard to imagine like how many people have to become parents, and like those kids got a good one right there with Gary Woodland and his wife. Like those are good people. That's what he strives for, is to just think about that. Like when you become to that level of fame and excellence, and you're like your game is at the highest level, and now the thing that drives him is to like prove to his children that he can do it, and like as a lesson to like never give up even if something happens. Like that's now his sole purpose in life. That is such an amazing way to look at the world now for him.
Like maybe the greatest story in sports right now. And I don't think I know it's gotten a lot of coverage, and it had a Netflix episode, and however many eyeballs are on a certain story doesn't ultimately matter, but this is a good one and it's way up there. And I think Gary even being alive is so incredible. And then to go out there and shoot a 62, like I know that's not the most important part, but the fact that he still is able to do that is like if he ever wins, or I think he said yesterday, like this is the greatest second place can ever feel. Like if I'm not going to win the tournament, but I'm going to finish second and I'm alive and like I'm able to hang out with my kids and all those things, like that's a gift in itself. But like it would have been a miracle if he had just made it through, and then his PGA Tour career just sort of like maybe even fizzled out and he wasn't playing as well, whatever. But this guy is shooting a 62 and finishing second in professional golf tournaments, not that far removed from having brain surgery. And that is, it's incredible. The whole thing is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it really reminds me of after, I think it was the British Open last year when in his Netflix episode, and, he came up a little short. He kind of was in, going into the weekend, he had a chance, and he's just talking with his wife, and he was like, I got to be honest with you, like, it just feels great to feel great. He was like, I know I'm usually bummed that like I didn't get it done, but like, dude, I have the energy to kind of go home and play with the kids and spend time talking with my wife and play professional golf throughout like the whole week. He was like, this just is like awesome to not feel shitty. And he was so happy about that. And so it reminded me of that when he said that about like nobody's ever felt really better about a second place finish. And he's just the man, right? Like, dude, dapping us up when he came into the office after winning the U.S. Open. The vibes that we get when we saw him for the podcast, like we hadn't really seen him in years. And then we see him, he comes over and he's just chatting us up. He's got such a cool, calm demeanor to him. It shows in his tempo. That lag that he's got when he hits the ball is so aesthetically pleasing. So awesome week for Gary Woodland. Love that he's playing good golf again, and he's kind of must listen in all of his media answers at this point.
He is a cool guy too. Like I know golf really struggles with finding cool guys, and they're not great at amplifying them when they have them. But Gary Woodland's a guy when you meet him, like he was a really good college basketball player, right? Or at some point he was. Yeah, you could just tell he's got that swagger of like when you read Gary Woodland, you read that name on a leaderboard, you're like, oh, I know about that guy, but you don't. Like when you get to meet him, he's fucking cool. He's got that walk. He's got that talk. He's just, he's a cool guy. I really, really, really like Gary Woodland.
He, what an oddly specific, like you had to have known something was wrong, because what an oddly specific anxiety to have on a plane that the the storage bins were going to collapse on you. There are so many other things that you could be nervous about on a plane, like it just crashing. But like you thinking that it's going to be a successful flight, but the storage bins are going to collapse on you is something where it's like, all right, something's wrong now. You know what I mean? Not
I know
to
what
make
you mean.
light of it, but like that. I keep hearing that one. Like he said that during the show. He said it to us. Yeah, you know, I think it's been referenced this week as he played well, where it's like the storage bins were going to collapse on him on the plane. Where it's just like, holy shit, dude. This is not my typical, because like I'm about to get on a plane at 4 p.m. and I'm going to be thinking it's going to be crashing the whole way, but that's
100%.
like that's you know, flight anxiety. Like that latch falling down and like someone's really heavy luggage falling on me and hitting my head is something that's a little bit different.
I agree. I totally
Final
agree.
destination type stuff.
I don't think I've ever gotten on a plane and not thought like, well, this is going down.
Yeah,
nobody talks about it, and I know why, because
I know.
we don't. But it's just every time. I'm getting launched 30,000 feet in the air, and we're just like, oh yeah, this is going to be fine. And percentages would tell you it's so fine.
Things are getting a little hairy now, but we're just gonna, you know, I think that's more just like social media, just letting you know when it happens more than it used to be.
Yeah, potentially.
But yeah, no, it's good. It's good. It's all good stuff.
The fight for the green jacket is on in Augusta. Get in on all the action at DraftKings Sportsbook. Look, we talk a good amount on this very show about our picks, about what we like. Myself and Kirk Minahan will have the full Chasing Greens episode on Wednesday of next week for Augusta. But we're looking Rory McIlroy's plus 650. I think I saw Jordan Spieth is plus 2,200. I kind of always love Jordan Spieth's chances there. I know he hasn't won in a while. Jordan Spieth's a little bit erratic. He could miss the cut. He could, you know, whatever. But I love the DraftKings Sportsbook. I love betting on golf that week, getting into the game, having a little bit of investment in the game, some skin in the game. I'm fired up for next week.
Yeah, there's a lot of value out there. We talk about that a lot in this show. And this is the case with every single major, but there are a lot of people that can win this one. I think, you know, Scottie hasn't won since he came back from this injury, and it feels like people are a little bit more down on him than they were last year. They're not as confident that he's going to win every single event, every single major they plays in as they were last year. So I think that opens up the pool to a lot more players. Yeah, it should be interesting to see what happens. I'm going to be looking long and hard on that app over the next couple days, figuring out exactly what I want to do, because the value is there for a lot of guys. You know, if you're getting anything plus 1,000 or over on guys like Ludwig and Jordan Spieth and all of these guys that can get it done, that we think can get it done, yeah, there's just a lot of options.
There's a lot of fun real-time stuff, too. You know, I remember DraftKings kind of gets it going. You can do matchups, different holes. There's all kinds of fun stuff to get involved. Here's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers, you bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the code FORE. That is code FORE for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Foreplay is sponsored by BetterHelp. Let's talk numbers. Traditional in-person therapy can cost anywhere between $100 to $250 per session, which adds up fast. But with BetterHelp Online Therapy, you can save on average up to 50% per session. With BetterHelp, you pay a flat fee for weekly sessions, saving you big on cost and on time. Therapy should feel accessible, not like a luxury. And with online therapy, you get quality care at a price that makes sense. It can help you with anything from anxiety to everyday stress. Your mental health is worth it. And now it's within reach. You know, we work on our swings, we work on our putting stroke, we work on all kinds of stuff. Probably don't work on our mental health enough, gents.
Yeah, I would say just give this a try. You know, even if things are pretty good. I know life can be stressful. Life is hard. A lot of things going on. But even if you feel like you're in a good spot, maybe talk to somebody and figure out why that is. You know, you get to the bottom of that. So it doesn't always have to be negative, but it can be positive. And I think overall this would be a very positive experience. So talk to somebody, sign up for BetterHelp. I think it'll really help you out.
With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. It really is a great resource. And like we said, you can save up to 50% per session. Your well-being is worth it. That's BetterHelp.com, and your well-being is worth it. I've secured the large basket from Augusta National. So that one's
Now
coming.
you gotta have 14 people over. I mean, I can't imagine how much egg salad that is. But I'm excited to find out because I love it, and I'm potentially. I think I am. I think I'm going in with Riggs is going in on Tuesday, which is unbelievable. I think I'm going to be going in. I'm going to be eating as much egg salad as I can that week before I even get the basket. So it's going to be a full egg salad and pimento cheese week, regardless of how much they send me. So
yeah.
Congratulations, Riggs. That's huge.
You know, I'm gonna be back home in St. Louis for a couple days because instead of going from Chicago, Phoenix, and then to Dallas, I was like, I'll just go home to St. Louis, see my nephew and niece, and we're gonna watch the Masters on Saturday afternoon. So I'm having this bad boy shipped right to my brother's house right now. Hopefully he'll secure it, and then that Saturday afternoon, we got to find about 14 or 15 friends. It sounds like, and then we'll watch the Masters tournament. We can't
honestly though, like egg salad, unless they send huge tubs, like. What they think is for 4 people is probably for me. You know what I mean? Because I could just eat as much egg salad as you've ever seen in your entire life.
Same. And you know what really speaks to the advancement of Augusta National is they're just shipping egg salad all across the country. I think that might be on the bottom of the list in terms of things that I would want shipped to me.
Goldbelly is just another animal. We're dealing with it with Borelli's. We're trying to get Borelli's up there, and we're actually really close. But like getting it to be right, I mean. Just to show you guys, my dad Borelli's has been in business for 70 years. And it's really just been my grandfather who started with his 2 brothers. The 3 brothers from Italy came. They started in 1955. My dad's been working there since he was 11 years old. Didn't even graduate high school. This is all he knows. This is all he's been. It's a movie that he's been at Borelli's and the way that he's been there and just taking it over, right? He's got a sister there. My Aunt Angela's there. My Aunt Lisa was there for years before they moved. My mom's there every single morning. So he's got his family there. It's just family. There's no manager. There's no nothing. It's just him, the waiters, the cooks, and Laredo making the pizzas. His thumbs go sideways. 70 years, right? The Coliseum was there forever. And so like he knows what he's doing, but he actually like sometimes doesn't, to the point where it's like we're doing this Goldbelly thing and we had to send a test pizzas to Goldbelly headquarters, right? So he's sending them. And they messaged me and they're like, hey, like the pizzas were unbelievable. Like, thank you so much. We just got to say, like, maybe they should use ice packs instead of just loose ice cubes in the packaging. Yeah. Like, we understand that definitely kept it cold, but like from an aesthetic and like from efficiency standpoint, just taking the ice machine and just dumping them in like you're putting it into like a margarita machine, like this is you should probably just get the ice pack. And he's like, yeah, the ice packs like didn't work. I didn't keep them in the freezer. I just thought the ice. So that was like a funny, like you can't put ice cubes just in there. Like I think they're going to want a better system than that. So we've gotten past that, but yeah, they really make sure, like you're saying with the egg salad, like it's shipping, not even just Goldbelly, but like all these shipping companies. It's amazing that you can get any of this food fresh and
totally
be able to just eat it. Like it starts from Augusta National and then it ends up on my counter, my 32-inch counter now with shiplap backsplash, and I can just like eat it with Wonder Bread.
I couldn't believe when you said that's why I'm very intrigued. In order, I just paid $190.23 for the paper. It's like it's fucking.
I mean, I thought it was only during
the. Trent, you got to do it now.
I think they're gonna.
we can't keep giving them money.
They're gonna take $800 off this podcast in a
Trent ordering an egg salad, pimento cheese egg salad, and pulled pork for 14 people to his singular house with just him in Jupiter, Florida would be the funniest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And it would go, man. You would fucking crush that shit.
Right. If we're talking 14, they're talking about regular people. I could probably knock down 5 of those people. So I still got pretty much 10 people's worth of egg salad in my house. I'll give it some deep thought on during today, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Man. We're gonna be farting like crazy.
That is a beautiful thing. Jim Nantz. We got to talk about Jim Nantz.
Oh my God.
This came out last week while we were at Houston together, that all the headlines where Jim Nantz announces he's going to be retiring for the Masters tournament coverage in 2036. I thought it was a typo when I first saw it of like, did he mean 2026? Then you kind of go through it and it's like, that will be the 100th Masters tournament. he will be 70 something, high 70s, I think, at that point. And you're like, oh my God, he is announcing 11 years out that he's going to be doing an 11-year retirement tour. Once I really dug into it, I don't want to burst everybody's bubble, but Jim Nantz kind of got headlined, big time here where, you look into it and it's like he was asked during an interview with this Scottish golf magazine called Bunkered about, do you ever have any plans to retire from covering the Masters? And his answer was, well, a lot of things have to happen for that to occur. First off, my health would have to hold up. Secondly, CBS and Augusta would have to want me to come back. But if all the stars aligned right now, I feel like a pretty good exit point would be April 14th, 2036. That's my scheduled retirement date. It would be a perfect place to walk out. So he was asked this in an interview and was like, oh, yeah, like if I'm still healthy, if I'm still employed, I think the right time would be the 100th Masters. That sort of gets headlined into like Jim Nantz schedules a press conference to announce that he's retiring in 11 years, which is not really what happened. Regardless, a very, very funny thing and a very Jim Nantz thing to hit the internet waves of like Jim Nantz announces he's retiring in 11 years.
I had a feeling that was the case, and I didn't look into it for that reason.
Yeah.
There just had to be a reason that he said that, and it wasn't what you're saying. Like his head popped off the pillow one day and was like, let's get everybody together. I got something I want to say. And I'm sure there was. It sounds like there was way more context to it. But I wanted to live in a world where he just said it out loud, like screaming bankruptcy, like I'm retiring, and it's going to happen in 11 years. Now, you do have to have a certain reputation, and it's not a negative one. But Jim Nantz does have like the reputation of a guy who he just does things in a way that are very heavy and very like, all right, this is what's going to happen. I mean, he calls the fucking master, so he's got to have that about him. But it wasn't outside the realm of possibility where Jim Nantz just came out and said, by the way, everybody, in a very serious tone, I will be retiring in 11 years. I think that's going to be perfect for me. So I didn't look into it, but I figured there had to be more to it.
Now, he still, even after I looked into it, it still had all the Nantz beauty to it, in my opinion, of him. He had the date in his head.
Exactly.
Legit. In this interview, he says, all the stuff, this would have to happen. That would happen. However, April 14th, 2026, that is a pretty good scheduled retirement date. So, I mean, he knew that in his head, which is, again, nobody else could have really given that answer. So even though he got headlined a little bit, I still think it was perfectly Jim Nantz for him to have that date and be ready to rock with that answer.
He's also a guy who I believe historically kept a picture of toast in his wallet where when he would go to diners, he would say, this is how I want my toast.
I remember that.
So, which I believe when we first heard about that, Frankie Borelli wanted to do that with bacon. Because Frankie likes his bacon in a very specific way.
I want you to take that bacon, put it on the grill top. I want you to make sure that it's as well done as it can possibly be, right? So well done that you can't even imagine you're about to bring that out of the kitchen and give it to. I want people to stop you and be like, what are you doing with that piece of bacon? There's no way that's going to a customer. And then I want you to turn around and put it on for another 2 minutes.
Oh,
and then bring it out to me.
If
it's at the level of like, we've gone too far, let it stay on for another minute.
That leads me to believe you've never tasted bacon.
Oh, I've tasted bacon. My buddy Big Rob loves to wrap the bacon around his finger.
Oh,
basically takes it. Big Rob would take, I was living with him, there'd be bacon grease all over all the countertop, all over the counter, like all the handles. Cause he would just like in the mornings, he'd make bacon with his hands. He'd take it out of that freaking paper and throw it on. He'd throw it in the pan. And then as like it's sizzling, he'd take it off and wrap it around his finger. And then he'd grab something. There was, at least with mine, it's like, it's burnt to a crisp. All the oil is basically out of it. The grease is gone.
Oh, I'm in between those two. I don't like the chewy bacon, but I don't want it burnt to a crisp.
Well, don't get me wrong. There is a fine line. Like if that middle part's like that nice red, and then the tips get perfectly blackened, that's where there is like we've had great. You know where I've had great bacon is the Carolina Hotel, that breakfast spot. that you like right in the back of the Carolina Hotel. I remember that being an all-time
with the
bacon.
piano. They got the piano, playing. Oh, a great spot, right?
Pebble
in the Carolina
Beach has a
dining
great
room right
bacon. And Spanish Bay, all these like really elite golf courses have unbelievable bacon. They know where it's at. But if I'm making my own bacon at home, I'm burning it to a crisp, baby. So I agree with Jim Nantz. Yeah, it's a very funny headline, but he definitely got screwed in that sense. Like he didn't come out and just be like, I want to do an 11-year retirement tour. He's not going to be getting bottles of wine every year, being like counting down. Like at each tournament he goes to, they're going to hand him a basket, kind of like what's happening with Sam Rosen right now, the New York Rangers announcer. It's warranted. He's been a great announcer for years, but like every place he goes to, they give him a bottle of wine and they give him a signed jersey. So it's like it's a whole tour thing. It's the Derek Jeter tour.
right.
So it is what it is.
Speaking of the Yankees, do you want to address Torpedo Bat?
I think it's genius. I think it's absolutely genius. I think that's also getting headlined to oblivion right now. Like this guy from MIT, the Yankees hired this really smart guy from MIT who invented the Torpedo Bat, which is just moving mass to different parts of the bat within the guidelines and rules of what a bat can be in baseball. They've obviously cleared it with the MLB, or else they wouldn't have made such a big deal about it. So the thing that I'm thinking he's getting headlined for, the Yankees are getting headlined for, is these bats have been available for like 2 to 3 years. This guy invented this, and other teams have used it and like tried to use it, and it just wasn't like a hot commodity. Like other teams didn't want to use a Torpedo Bat. So the Yankees come out, they hit 1 million home runs in the first opening series.
1 million.
They hit 9 home runs like opening day or something like that. Judge isn't even using it, so that's the funny part. But Jazz and Anthony Volpe are using it. Other teams have known about this forever. And other teams are using it. The Twins are using it now too. So who cares?
Them hitting 1 million opening.
I saw Dave's video. Like if the Red Sox did it, he'd be like, "We have the smartest people. We're inventing things that you're not inventing. We're ahead of
True.
Like it's just, I don't know. Like these are just the rules, and they're using the bats that are being like, "Hey, that bat is allowed." Okay.
I saw this morning. Dave is now, him and Jazz Chisholm they're in it together. They're going.
Jazz responded.
He did. Yes.
I don't know what else to say. Like, it's just allowed. Like, we can argue until our faces are blue, but like, it's just simply allowed. And other teams have the same access to it. This guy invented the Torpedo Bat, and like, it was available to people years ago.
It really didn't. I mean, it helped the Yankees, but it didn't help them when they hit 1 million opening day home runs. Like, if they had hit a couple, I don't think anybody talks about the Torpedo Bat. The fact that every time I flipped over to the Yankee game, somebody else was going deep, and I was just like, man.
Only 2 guys used it. But that's not funny, right? Like, that's just a fact.
I'm with you. It's just a very funny, like, because I've just been watching it from afar, and it's like, it's just to have the Torpedo Bat be a thing in baseball right now is very funny.
They're just funny looking too. So like every tweet comes along with the image of it, and it just looks preposterous. It looks like something from Family Guy, like that they would, it's like a ridiculous storyline.
I don't know. I just think like equipment changes over the span of all of these sports, right? I mean, hockey sticks used to be wooden sticks with no curve, and now like
shout out to St. Louis Blues, by the way. St. Louis Blues are
they're an absolute problem. Islanders were 1 point out of a playoff spot and lost 5 games in a row. So it's just like, and they just don't want it.
The Blues had absolutely no chance to even make the wild card. Now they're encroaching upon teams that have secure spots in the NHL playoffs. They have won, I believe, 8 games in a row. I think they're 13-2-2 since the Four Nations break, and they have been beating the wheels off of teams. Like, not winning. They're winning like 5-1, 6-1. They got the best goalie in the world after Bennington won the whole thing for Team Canada. So the St. Louis Blues are just a problem right now.
They're a problem. But my point being, there's always equipment changes. This just happens to be like the new version of that. Obviously, it's coming at like in a comedic way, in the sense that like the Yankees won 20-9 and everyone's zooming in on like Jazz Chisholm's bat, and they're like, what the fuck is that thing? Yeah, no, and you got the guys on the Brewers being like, it's bullshit. It's like, what are you talking about? It's bullshit. You're throwing fucking batting practice.
Right. It's an excuse for them, because they're like, well, I mean, I was defenseless against the Torpedo Bat.
That's crazy.
It helps that it has a great name. Like, I think that's like 90% of it. Because if it were just like the big barrel bat, people would be like, that's lame. The fact that it's called the Torpedo Bat, that's a winner. I've got baseball fever right now. I watched so much Cubs baseball over the weekend. It's just the pitch clock changes everything. And I know we've talked a lot about that on this show, just in regards to pace of play with golf and what they can do. Bro, there was the Cubs game on Friday night. I think it was 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Amazing.
And it was like, whoa,
That's
it's just
perfect.
over. It used to be when you turned on a baseball game, that was just the rest of your night. If the first pitch was 8 p.m., you were up till 12:30, and then that was it. But now with these new rules, the games fly by.
It's flying, and yeah, it's just. It's a long season, but nothing gets me going more than like opening week. There's just something about it. The day games, Yankee Stadium's rocking. You see the pinstripes again. You see the torpedo bats. Like things are just fucking happening. But it's fun. It's fun to be back. And yeah, the Yankees are just like Mets fans are hammering them, and the Red Sox fans are hammering them, and everyone else is just like, yeah, I guess those are just like the rules. But we'll see if the MLB bans them. That would be interesting.
So another thing also, if everybody uses the torpedo bat, then nobody's using the torpedo bat. You know what I mean? It's one of, like you're saying, Frankie, it's available and it's within the legal or the allowed boundaries of Major League Baseball in terms of what the bat can be and what the bat can't be. So it sounds like everybody should probably be using torpedo bats.
It reminds me of putters in golf, whether it was anchoring, whether it's broomstick, whether it's mallet versus flat, whatever. It's like there's been that conversation forever of like, this person's doing this. It's like, well, if that's such an advantage, then why isn't everybody doing it? It's like that. What do you mean? And if it's within the rules currently and you're bitching that other guys are doing it, then like you should be doing it. Why are you not?
It's exactly the putting. Doing the broomstick and everyone being like, that's bullshit. It's like, well, they're allowing them to do the broomstick. And if you think it's bullshit, then just do it. Like if you're saying that they're making more putts than you using that and it shouldn't be allowed, then just use that putter. And then you also have guys that are like Aaron Judge that are like, I just don't like the look of the bat and the feel of it. I'm just going to use my own. And he has like 5 home runs already. So it's like, there's just,
which I believe it might've been Keegan maybe that's basically what he did. Right. Cause I think like they had the rule that was like, this is changing in 2016 or whatever it is that you can't anchor your putter anymore. And so all the other guys that had been doing it were like, oh yeah, we're starting to transition now so that when the rule changes, I'm ready to go. And I believe it was Keegan or somebody was like, oh no, I'm clearly better with the anchoring, so I'm going to do it up until the second that I'm not allowed to do it. Why wouldn't I do it? That's crazy. And then after that, I'll have to figure it out because they're changing the rules. But like clearly,
did he win during that time?
I think he might have like won during that stretch, like months before they actually made the change or something along those lines. And I remember him being like, well, obviously, I'm going to do this until I can't do it. That would be psychotic.
As of now, torpedo bats are here to stay, is what I would say. They're here to stay.
They make sense. Like when you do, now that you have all the analytics and data in sports, if you see that a guy is getting jammed and is making contact where it should be going further, but because of where the weight dispersion is on the bat, he's not hitting the hardest part of the bat and moving the hardest part of the bat to where he makes the most contact is unbelievably smart.
It is.
Yeah.
I saw a funny tweet that was like, baseball's like 250 years old or whatever. And they're like, year 249 was like, you know what we should do? Let's put the wood further down here where like players hit the ball more. And it's like, yeah, if it works, it works. And it's clearly working for the Yankees.
But bats have changed since Babe Ruth played. I mean, they've been completely reconstructed in the sense that like they're smoother and they have smaller handles. If you watch the bats those guys use, they weren't as perfectly constructed as they are now. So, I mean, you can make the argument that like bats have been changing forever. Some have like the hollow top, some have the round top. So, I mean, you can look at all the different variations of them. They disperse different weight and air and all of this stuff in them. Some of them are hollower than others. Like there's rules. I mean, DeMarini makes one bat and the other one makes another bat. Easton, it's like there's all different types of bats. Yeah, it's just torpedo looks outrageous. It actually it should have been like this the whole time. Like if you're getting sawed off at the end, if you're getting sawed off your hands, or if you're hitting like the cap of the bat, like it's amazing that they ever even had the thickest part at the end because like you were never going to make good contact off the end of the bat like that ever. So like you should have just if you're constantly making contact off the edge of the end of the bat, like why would that be the thickest part? Because you don't really want to make contact there anyway. You want to make it a couple inches off that. So that's where the thickest part should be. Like you should just resort to those just being like broken bats or just like dinks. Like, oh, I didn't catch it on the middle. Like, why would that be where all the weight is dispersed? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like fucking genius.
It's like blue cow for baseball, right? It's like nobody would ever have thought that. You know, it really teaches you like how people were able to innovate and create unbelievable products, and you're just thinking in a different way than anyone else was ever thinking. Like everyone's thinking about the technique and getting jacked and weightlifting and how you could, and it's like something simple as like, well, no, dude, how come nobody's ever changed the shape of the bat or not to this
Right.
degree? You're like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, that's actually a good
Yeah,
idea.
for those that don't know, the Blue Cow reference, I think we actually talked about that off camera because we were just talking about Mr. Beast interview that we had listened to, and he references Mr. Beast, obviously insane on YouTube. He's won YouTube. Like he just knows everything about it, and he gets 1 billion views every single day. Actually, Miss Rachel might be on her way to like taking that crown.
Yeah.
This children's Miss Rachel video, the numbers, and I'm going to be listening to her nonstop because
Well,
I
you
watch
gotta
what
have
happens.
Mr. Jerry on that in that house.
Mr. Jerry's going to have
You're a Mr. Jerry household, my friend.
When are those releasing? Because I need those. I might need to see like the edits before they come out.
I forget what he said. I think they filmed a bunch of them. I think they're going to drop them all at once, but I don't know when that date is.
But he basically says like you have to think about if you're when you're coming up with ideas or you're coming up with like a way to kind of think about your life. It doesn't even have to be YouTube ideas, where it's like you drive down the street and you see a cow, and it's just you've seen cows before, so you keep driving and you keep talking to whoever's in the passenger seat, but the cow never comes up. And if you're driving down the street and you see a blue cow, a cow that's been painted blue, it's still a cow. It's something that you're used to, but it's in a way that you can't stop thinking about it. Like you drive past it and you're like, why was that blue? Why did I notice that? So it's like, it could be with anything. It could be with pizza restaurants. It could be with anything. It's like you have, golf videos are a cow. How do you make it a blue cow? Baseball bats are cows that you drive by. And how do you make it's like, hey, we all have these bats. Like, how do I make a bat that's like no one's ever seen before? It's still the bat, but like we have to change it to our own variation. It's a more complex way of just saying like think outside the box in whatever field you're in. But yeah, it's just a nice representation of like how he kind of sees nice visual look into his brain where he's like, I have these YouTube videos and I have these challenges and I want to make blue cow challenges where it's like when you watch my YouTube video, which there are 1 billion YouTube videos, why is mine going to be talked about the most? And it's because I lock a guy in a plane and I make him fly around the country. And if he lasts for a year, he gets to keep the jet, where it's like, all right, I have to watch that video to see if this guy completes this challenge because I've never seen that before. I've never seen someone get locked in a fucking supermarket for as long as they want and they get $10,000 a day to survive. And if they stay for 10 years, they stay for 10 years, they make $300 million. But if they stay for 3 days, they get whatever, 30 grand. So it's amazing. So we've had a lot of blue cow meetings where like, what can we do that are blue cow? It's hard because like, oh, let's go do a video where we drink a bunch of Fireball. And it's like, all right, well, you watch any YouTube video and there's 9 of them. And all right, let's go do it. We had our blue cow idea where it's like, we're going to play Kevin Kisner in a match and we're going to take 4 of us to see if we can beat him. It'd never really been done. We were the first ones on YouTube to really do a 4-man scramble verse. That was blue cow. And now look, now you got the whole fucking rainbow out there.
The whole pasture is blue.
The whole pasture is blue. So you got to keep thinking. You got to keep. Oh, we're gonna do a Barstool Classic now. It's like now that's not as blue anymore. It's just like everything. You come up with blue cow, you gotta just keep changing. Now it's just a brown fucking cow.
It is a good prompt to like for anybody in any job, anything really in life to like try to think about things differently. Try to like activate that part of your brain that can somehow rethink how you're doing something that seems pretty basic and have it be more effective or more interesting or whatever. And yeah, we use it when we try to think about videos. I know we are all excited that it's April and the Masters finally here, but April also means taxes are due soon. Now is the time to go to taxact.com and file that return. They have real tax experts who can help you at any step of your return. If you need a little help or a lot, there's a level of expert assist service for you. All tax experts are 100% credentialed and 100% US based. So once again, no matter what your level of help that is required, what they've got over at Tax Act is this expert assist service, which determines how much help you are actually going to need. It could be a ton. It could be just a little bit. They assign that proper amount of help to you, and then they make filing very, very simple. Finish tax season strong and go to taxact.com and get your taxes over with. That is taxact.com. I know we got flights to catch. We got a huge couple weeks of filming coming up. Probably the biggest one is the day that this podcast comes out. We're filming with the Chiclets crew, years and years in the making. I'm actually just very excited in general. Those guys are fucking hilarious. So I think it's gonna be really fun, and it's gonna be intense. So it's a really, really good mix of having a great time playing golf and also, trying to win in something that we really need to win at.
Can't wait. 27 holes. It's going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait to get down to Georgia. We are playing tomorrow. When this podcast comes out, and I hit some balls yesterday, went to the range and just kind of got some balls in the air and feel all right. Like, I feel okay. I don't feel like my game's particularly where it was in the summer last year, but we just got to fucking battle. We got to get balls in the hole. I think it's just, as a team, we've looked really good at the Houston Open. Like, as a team, we looked really good. If we bring that same game to Georgia, what we did as a 3-man scramble against Nico Echevarria and Vince Whaley, we will win against Chiclets if we play that way.
I agree. I fully agree. I walked away from Houston being like, the 4-play squads, golf games are in a good spot going into a huge week of golf matches. And I think, like you're saying, everything changes when you're standing on that first tee. As everybody knows, the Chiclets boys are going to be running their mouths. There's going to be a lot of talking going on out there. Nerves start to play a factor. So who the hell knows? But we can have those golf games show up. I like where the fellas are at right now. I really do.
It's already starting the talking. I mean, so much so we just changed the golf course. I mean, we literally just changed the golf course because it wasn't meeting certain standards for certain of the guys on the team. We're not going to get into the specifics of that. We don't want to start the talking before the camera's running. But it's going to be intense. It's going to be intense. I mean, Whitney played a practice round yesterday, and now we're not even playing at that golf course. So, I mean, I'm sure he's going to be going nuts. He's going to absolutely lose his mind. But I can't wait. It's going to be intense, man. Real intense.
Fellas,
Yep.
Come on. What a win. Just win.
I mean, I have been thinking a lot about it really comes down. The format is great. The only thing you got to worry about is, like, Biz has never put together a score, he said. So it's like, if Biz shoots a 200 in 9 holes, it's like, it really fucks them. You know what I mean? So, like, I kind of want to, we'll have a conversation tomorrow about, like, what we want to do with that, because I think, like, if this comes down to, like, the wire, scrambles tight, alternate shot is tight, and then it comes down to singles, and, like, Riggs versus Witt's a match for the ages, me versus Yandel's a match for the ages, and then, like, Biz, who he's like a great athlete, but, like, he says he golfs once a year in, like, sandbaggers. He's never actually tried to put a score together. He's never played 9 holes in his entire life. He only does alternate shots or he only does scrambles. Like, if he shoots a 92 in 9 holes, like, it's not, like, it's all over, right? Like, we're not going to lose by 30, Riggs and I, where that would come into play. So I've been thinking about that, like, as the weeks have gone on, like, after we got off that call. It's a great format where, like, everything is stroke play, but I just want to make sure that everyone knows that we are aware that we could maybe tweak something, and I hope that we do.
It's fine.
We have to figure something out. Yeah.
I want it to be fair. I want to beat them in a format where we need to play our game and not where something's handed to us because of, anything. And we could be, we could be looking and regretting this conversation if Biz is like, goes out there and plays well.
We just don't know. We'll find out after the first 2 videos. Like, we'll be like, all right, like, he can, like, he feels confident that he can put up because that's always been the thing where it's like Witt and Riggs have had the thing, and then, like, Biz would be like, we've had the conversations of Biz and Trent doing matches and doing, like, breaking 100s together, right? Like, we tried to figure out, like, if they could do that. So yeah, I think that we'll see how it's going after the first one, and then, like, we'll reassess. But I just wanted to put that out there, being like, I understand that it could be just like a non-competition if one guy's just can't get the ball in the hole. I mean, that's tough.
No, so that would be a shame if it, like, makes the others not important, because as long as we got it in 9 holes, if me and Frankie just don't lose by 10, then, like, we win. Yeah. It's like, all right, like, we could do that.
Yeah. We're going to try and make it as fair as possible, and it's going to be unbelievable. And really, you're just watching it to see, like, if someone swings on someone else. You know what I mean? This is as big as it gets for us. Like, it's, as long as no one gets punched, I think it's going to be a fucking success.
Come on. Be a great clip. Might be worth the views, although I don't like our
I think Witt's, like, sick right now, too, so I really don't feel like getting the flu, but he just texted me. He's got, like, a fever. It's like, holy shit. A lot going on down there.
Yeah, there is a lot going on down there for guys that are just there playing golf practice rounds for
Come
27
on.
a
A lot of pollen. All right.
All right,
Can't
everyone.
wait. I can't wait. This is the biggest 2 weeks of our whole year, really. I mean, this is it. This is like what you gear up for. Get some good rest. Let's get down to Atlanta. Have a good dinner tonight.
Let's do it,
You know?
boys. Let's do it. Let's get our asses to Georgia. Safe travels, everyone. Thanks for listening. Thanks to all of our partners, our sponsors, our crew behind the scenes. Huge couple weeks coming up. Culminates with the Masters tournament and our $190.23 pieces of paper that we're going to enjoy. Have a great week. We'll be back Thursday. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.